Hey guys, so since Johnny Depp is not like really, uh, he's not popping up like on my Twitter anymore, so that, I mean, like right now, I mean, he just attended Jeff Beck's funeral, and I'm sure he's still, dealing with all of that, but he's not, it's been literally like almost a year since the trial. I mean, that time is really, wow, it's flown by. Time really just does fly. And, now that all that's over with, and even the turd hasn't been...
This is a reminder. Take my blood pressure.
Yes, ma'am.
This is a reminder.
All right. Anyway. So, geez, 1 second, guys. My Lord. Okay. So, he hasn't really, and I'm happy that he's not really been, he's got some privacy right now, and especially during a time of grief, you really need the privacy. So anyway, being that, there's not like really new pictures popping up, left and right like there were during the trial and during the touring, I think we're all kind of missing him a little bit, but I'm happy that he's got some privacy. So I thought it might be interesting to look at some other things, to just talk about Johnny Depp for a minute, because I know some of you came to my channel because of the Johnny Depp content. So I kind of went searching for something interesting. Now, I don't know. I'm reading this article. I'm going to react to it as I read it. I have not read it yet. But I thought, let's, and of course, I guess it depends on your perspective and what you did under working for Johnny Depp. I'm sure he's got everything from, housekeepers to bodyguards to publicists to personal assistants to, social media managers and things. He's probably got all of that. So I thought this article was written in 2020, and I thought it might be interesting to see what it would be like to work for Johnny Depp. Now, I have not obviously interviewed anyone that has worked for him. That would be cool, wouldn't it? So this is an article put out by thethings.com. I know nothing about this. So it's going to say, working for, now, again, I'm going to react to this as I read it. Working for Johnny Depp was no walk in the park before the Amber drama happened. Afterward, it became near impossible. I'm sure that it did, because it was just probably very chaotic. I'm not a fan of this picture. People, if they want to paint you in a bad light, they got a way of just finding the absolute worst pictures. Anyway, all right, so Johnny Depp was selling ballpoint pens when in the early 1980s he met actor Nicolas Cage in Los Angeles. How cool would that be? You're just going door to door or business to business and you're selling ballpoint pens and somehow you meet Nicolas Cage. I think if I read somewhere once it said that Johnny's girlfriend at the time knew Nick Cage. Is that correct? So anyway, Cage told him to ditch the pens and try acting. So he took the advice and in '84 made his film debut in A Nightmare on Elm Street. His character came to a sticky end thanks to Freddy Krueger. I remember that scene. But Depp went from strength to strength. His big break came in '87 when he was cast as Thomas Hansen in 21 Jump Street. I am embarrassed to say that I never watched 21 Jump Street. It was not the kind of show. I never was into detective shows and things like that. And so, yeah. Sorry. So by 1990, he began a long-term collaboration with Tim Burton when he was cast as Edward in Edward Scissorhands, one of my favorites. And you know what's funny? Is when I first saw Edward Scissorhands, I didn't know that it was Johnny Depp. I don't read. You know, when I watch a movie, I just look to see if it's interesting, and I very rarely read the cast list. I know, I'm weird like that. So by the time he did his first turn, and I'm going to explain why I don't. It's usually because I need to get into the movie. I want to get into who the character is, not who the actor is, because then I'm just going to see the actor. Does that make sense? Like, when I was married, my husband we'd watch a movie together. Oh, I hated watching movies with him. Because he would always say, oh, that actor played in such and such and such and such. And then it was hard for me to focus on who the character was that the actor was playing in the moment. So, alright. By the time he did his first turn as Captain Jack Sparrow in the Pirates of the Caribbean in 2003, the world was his oyster. Captain Jack Sparrow really was the character that I think set Johnny apart. Let's see. It all began to fall apart when he married her in 2015. The 2016 divorce was brutal, we know this, with that woman accusing Depp of domestic abuse. His career and his life seemed to crumble. Working for Johnny Depp was no walk in the park before Amber Heard happened. But after, it became near impossible. Here's the reality of what it's like to work for Johnny Depp. So it says, this says 15, so maybe they're going to give us 15 points, I don't know. He might sometimes forget to pay you. Getting paid is the point of going to work, sure. Johnny Depp doesn't seem to understand that, because in 2018, security guards who had been working for him sued him, saying he neglected to pay them overtime and rest pay required by law. Can I just stop right here? Someone who's a celebrity like Johnny Depp, I don't see him personally sitting down at a desk at the end of each week writing paychecks. I don't think that's how that works. I would think that it would have been the responsibility of someone else to make sure those guys got paid. Right? I don't understand how that fell on Johnny Depp. They claim to not have received meal or rest breaks, and then they quit. Again, how does that fall on Johnny Depp? You know, every job has a foreman. Every company has their CEOs and such. I'm sure Johnny Depp is no different. You know, I'm sure he's got people that are supposed to take care of all that. So, how is that Johnny Depp's fault? How is any of that his fault? You will probably be exposed to illegal substances. Back with the security guards, seems once or twice they had to wipe illegal substances off Johnny Depp's face in public. Probably something powdery, if you get our drift. They also claimed that they were asked repeatedly to drive vehicles that contained illegal substances and open containers of alcohol. And it wasn't just Depp they had to contend with. There were unstable hangers-on to deal with as well. What a mess. I have no doubt that Johnny Depp had and always probably has people glomming onto him. You know, I mean, if you're a celebrity, that big of a celebrity, and you're working for them, I'd say there's probably a pretty good chance that you might be around some illegal substances. I mean, and if you're asked to drive a vehicle that has open containers in them or illegal substances in them, say you get stopped, the vehicle is searched, you're just the driver. So it's not going to be on you. You know what I mean? You're an employee. Now, I'm not just wiping this under the rug and, you know, condoning this. But I feel like even Johnny Depp would probably feel a little pressure by some of these high profile, because when you're in the celebrity world, you're around celebrity people. I would say it's probably rare that you're around just normal everyday people like you and me. And I'm sure, it's kind of like peer pressure, I would think. So some of it, I feel like he might have felt pressured, just expected to have those substances and the alcohol around. I'm just saying. When wasted, he might just attack. I want to know who was giving this information. When wasted, he might just attack you. Oh, what a shame. Speaking of unstable hangers-on, Depp was out on a street in Denmark swilling champagne with some chums. When a bodyguard tried to get him to go back inside the bar, there was an altercation and Depp got out of control. Depp refused to budge and glared angrily at the security man. His drunken companions tried in vain to calm the angry star down. Okay, I want to know, when did this happen? Where did this happen? Who is the source of this information? But I mean, let's face it. We are all not ourselves when we drink. I have personally given up drinking, and I'll do another video on that. But this whole statement, I need context for I need more info. I don't even know who the things.com is, so. But none of us are ourselves when we drink. You could conceivably get the easiest ride of your life. Depp has spent around $75 million for some 14 residences, including a private island in the Bahamas. I'm sorry about my voice, guys. I don't know what's going on with it today. More to the point, he spends $3.6 million a year for staff of 40. Wow. Believe it or not, all of the properties are fully staffed, just in case Depp decides to drop in. So land a job on his island and you can probably spend your days on the beach working on your tan. Where do I apply? Just say, where do I apply? So, Victoria, if you see this, if you listen to this, please tell him that there is a very overworked child care provider here that would love to spend my days on the dang beach, and wait on him hand and flipping foot when he was there. I'm just saying. And I give really good massages too. So there's that. So, I'm not even joking. You tell him, yep, put me on that island. I'll sweep the sand out of the house. I'll hang out on the beach. Anyway, so he pays pretty good, and I know that he is extremely generous. He does actually, he footed the bill for AH's friends and everything in those residences, and his friends too. He would just pay their rent and stuff, and I think that comes from his background. Growing up in Kentucky, and he didn't have a lot, when he was a child. He knows what it's like not to have, and he knows what it's like to struggle. And so I think that's, why he would do something like that, and take care of people. He's often moody and depressed. So am I, whatever. Friends and staff say there was Johnny before her and Johnny after her. Okay, before I read more of this, I'm going to say this. I went through more than one narcissistic relationship. I was raised by a narcissistic mother. You are not the same. It changes you. Especially once you wake up and you realize what has happened to you. You're not the same person. You're on high alert. All of you, your fight or flight, you know, and it takes hard, earnest practice to not be that way. And it also takes practice not to become like those who abused you, you know, because they mess up your head. And even though you're not like them, sometimes you may catch yourself saying things and you're like, where in the world did that come from? That's not who I am. It messes with your brain. So the fact that he was different after her does not, you know, that he's different does not surprise me. He's probably more quiet, more reserved, you know, especially, and more untrusting. Because I know I am. I'm resolved to a life of being single because I don't trust anymore. So let's see. The actor married her in 2015, and when the divorce came in 2016, it was beyond nasty, with her claiming she had been physically abused by Depp. He even lost his gig as Captain Jack Sparrow in the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise. What a freaking waste that. I mean, Disney just, I cannot stand it that they just assumed he did it. Anyways, we've talked about that. Everybody's talked about that. Let's move on. That's when the mood swings and bouts of depression really got bad, I'm sure. On really bad days, the staff tries to avoid contact with the troubled actor. Aww. I mean, yeah, he needs a space, but dang, he probably needs someone to vent to. Good Lord. But I mean, it's not a lot of people. Unless you have been through it, you wouldn't understand half of what he was probably trying to talk about. And he does, and a lot of times, too, the mistake people make is don't give your advice either. He probably doesn't need your advice. He just needs to talk about what happened. And he doesn't even need you to understand it, probably. Just shut up and listen to him. Get some stuff out. God. Johnny Depp has always been impulsive. Buying and staffing 14 residences speaks volumes as far as that is concerned. But there's more. On a whim, he spent $18 million on a yacht. He buys guitars, cars, and art at the drop of a hat. So, he's blown millions on his various collections. Look, if I had his money, I would have teapots galore. I have over 100 now. I mean, but that's something. Teapots, Winnie the Pooh. I would have probably a whole house dedicated just to those things. If you have the money, I mean, why not? You live once. But if staff try to curb his conspicuous consumption, they could find themselves out of a job. Well, because it's not their place to tell him to stop spending his money. Johnny does what Johnny wants to do when he wants to do it, period. And why is that a problem? Why is that a problem? You and I are allowed to do what we want when we want. It's our life. Why is it a problem? I don't understand why this is a problem. I don't get it. Oh, okay. He lives in his own little fantasy world. Well, so, I mean, there is reality and then there's the Depp reality, which just happens to be whatever Johnny Depp thinks it is. If he thinks something is true, then it is, whether or not it really is true. What? Staff says that he operates in his own little world, disconnected from the world as it actually exists. Okay, on that, I can't blame him. I don't blame him. If I had his money and could create my own world, so I would too. Confront him with the real facts and he will probably call you crazy. He may deny having done things which he clearly has done. It gets a little spooky. This is so messed up. I need to know who these sources are saying this crap. May have to put up with his kids and mooching family. When Depp's kids were little, staff were told to let them do what they wanted to do, no questions asked. Well, apart from keeping them safe, why not? Then there is his family. His sister Chrissy helped herself to around $7 million, and when Depp bought his mom a ranch, his other sister and her family moved in to run it. Only thing is, they were spending money like crazy. Depp seemed to think it was up to somebody else to clean up the mess. Nothing to do with him. Pity his poor managers. Well, if he was, honestly, he's not wrong. He's not wrong. If he was paying managers to take care of money, property, then it was up to the managers, family or not. If something goes wrong, it's your fault. Depp has a tendency to sue people who have worked for him. He sued his management company for $25 million claiming fraud, but they did steal money from him. He sued the people responsible for his tax and accounting, saying they had messed up, causing him to have to pay millions in penalties. Well, did they mess up? The reality, if he doesn't feel like signing his tax return, he won't. If he's told his family is bleeding him dry, he may well just shake his head and walk away. Again, if he has managers that are supposed to take care of all of this. And if I was working for Johnny Depp and I needed him to sign some paperwork, including his tax return, which honestly can be done digitally now, I would make sure it's your job to say this must be done or this will be the consequence. And film it, record the interaction so that if he's busy, if whatever's going on in his life, you can bring it up again later and say, hey, you still need to file these taxes. This is important paperwork that I need you to sign. You can't be afraid. Can't be afraid. I run my own business. I have to file taxes too. My business taxes, and it's something I know that there are penalties for if I don't do it. So, but again, I say if there's a manager or somebody that's supposed to make sure this is done, and generally speaking, you can file tax returns digitally, and it's like a click of a button, that the signature is input. So someone, I would imagine someone could just have the authority to do that for him. You will spend a lot of time protecting Depp from himself. Johnny Depp, stone cold sober, is moody and depressed much of the time. This is from trauma. He lets things slide, not doing what he should do. Staff throw up their hands but can do nothing. Staff, especially the security guards, are put in impossible situations when a publicly drunk and drugged up Depp staggers around the streets. I doubt he does that. I don't see him just walking around the streets drunk. He would be completely mobbed by people. They try to keep him out of harm's way, but he resists, sometimes violently. When I see this, it makes me sad. This makes me sad. Because I feel like he just needs the right people that he can trust, and then he would listen to them. Never mention the A word. Mention the name her around Johnny Depp, and you better be prepared to run for the hills. As he sees it, she is a devil who has ruined his career and his life. She is the devil. She is a devil. Now, I don't know about ruined. I think, if anything, he's had the freedom and the fans have backed him to do what he wants the way he wants now. That he contributed to the problems doesn't seem to occur to him. The truth, who knows who abused whom? It was most likely a mutual hatred society while they were married. The staff avoids the A word. Okay. On this part, we know that AH has a history of abuse. We know that she does. There have been multiple people to come out and say that. And who in the world besides these so-called experts did they have come and testify on her behalf? saying that it was a mutual hatred society while they were married. You know what the way I feel about that? We weren't there. We weren't there. I'm sure that, okay, I'll take my marriage, my ex-husband. It's not an excuse if violence begets violence. But I will say that there were times, you know, fights were fights, and I didn't sit down and just listen to the crap. You know, I spoke my piece as well, you know, and I said some things too. And I imagine, you know, any marriage is like that, you know. But as far as the physical violence, she, according to the court, the trial, which I did watch, sounds to me, and the audio recordings, that she constantly stirred things up. So let's see. He's often under the influence. The guy spends around $30,000 a month on wine. Wasn't this the case when he was with her? I read recently that his wine, or even I think it was stated in the court too, his wine budget was like almost down to nothing now. He is seldom seen without a glass, no matter the time of day. His household staff tries to stay out of harm's way when Depp is drinking and or smoking at home. Of late, he has taken to showing up at events worse for the wear, and don't even get into his party hard at bars late nights. This article is too, I want to go back up. This article is also, this is 2020. So, according to this article, let's see. Expect houseplant watering and vehicle waxing duties. Depp has spent millions on around 45 cars and houseplants to decorate his 5-house Hollywood Hills compound. Yes, he lives in not one but 5 houses. Apparently, he is into both cars and plants in a big way. So don't be surprised if you are handed a watering can or a tub of wax and told to get to work. It's all part of working for Johnny Depp. Well, I don't mind waxing cars, but I can tell you right now, my plants come to my house to die. I'll just say, I overwater, I overnurture, just like I do with the daycare kids. I overnurture, and plants and me, while I love plants, I absolutely love plants, we don't get along. We just do not. I would be watering one of his plants like, please don't die, please don't die, please don't die. Okay, he still acts like an A-lister. Ooh, this is going to make me mad. Johnny Depp has fallen from grace big time. Says, okay, let's see. Johnny Depp has fallen from grace big time. Guys, really? 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 You see this? 28.2 million followers. Really? Whose grace has he fallen from? Johnny Depp owns his own production company. He doesn't need Disney. Doesn't want Disney. Doesn't need Warner Brothers. Doesn't want Warner Brothers. He has his own production company. He and Al Pacino are currently directing and producing a movie together. Johnny Depp could go in the bathroom and unroll some toilet paper and write out a single word on that piece of toilet paper and post it to social media And it's going to get millions of hits within the hour, if not faster. Johnny Depp recognizes and has said many times that his fans are, his quote, not mine, that his fans are his employers. He recognizes where his money comes from. He knows this. He gets this. So to say that he's fallen from grace is a lie. That is a straight up false statement. There is rumor that Disney is considering reinstating him in the next Pirates of the Caribbean movie. Yet, I think this is all that is a rumor. And he would not go back to them. He has made that very clear. He was unceremoniously sacked from the I am not liking these people from the franchise. If that happens, he may be able to reclaim his top stars, whatever. His career prospects are in doubt, and that has staff worried. Wow. Wow. This is just, all of this is just straight up stupid. Right there. The whole false. All of it's false. Alright. And the first thing they say about working with Johnny Depp, let's face it, don't expect long-term job security. Depp has since 2016 been a man out of control. Again, look at the date. When you come out of a narcissistically abusive relationship, it changes you. Trust is something so hard to obtain. His erratic, angry, and unpredictable behavior have all caused great concern amongst his friends and staff. Out of the blue, long-standing staff members are sometimes fired and replaced by newcomers, because he probably didn't know who to trust. Some say his net worth has gone from $400 million to $200 million, and there are those that say this is an optimistic figure. Can he carry on employing the army of staff he has today? Who knows? So what is Johnny Depp's net worth? What is Johnny Depp's net worth? It says, let's see, I'm going to say 2023. Make sure I'm... what is this? CAC knowledge, K knowledge, CA knowledge, anyway, cash knowledge, I don't know. Johnny Depp net worth, let's see, updated February the 6th. Salary $25 million plus, monthly income $2 million plus. So his net worth is $210 million. That ain't bad. That's not bad. I mean, come on now. Who of us can say that? There's an actual site that let's see. Okay, Forbes updated 4 days ago. Just estimated network of 150 million. So, okay, so if he's worth around this much, first of all, why is it our business? Second of all, that's a lot of money. This is a lot of money. I mean, okay, for someone like you and me, this is a lot of money. What I could do with money like that. So that's still a lot. That's nothing to sneeze at. That ain't nothing to snub your nose at. That's a lot of money. Now, let's look at this. Here, this is another one. This is Celebrity Network. 5 $700,000 net worth. She went, wow, she really, I think last year it was $6 million. Now it's, I'm sorry, I'm screenshotting this. Because oh my goodness. Okay, enough said. Right? Okay. Alright, guys, well, let's end this. Let's end this with beautiful pictures of our guy. And yeah, bunk that article. I don't know who the sources were. It was written 3 years ago, so he is an amazing person. Look in my description, you'll find links to the Discord group, and go check it out. And if you are interested in following Johnny Depp, you can do so. He does have an Instagram, Instagram.com/Johnny Depp. He does have oops, I messed that up. He does have Facebook, Facebook.com/Johnny Depp. Here we go. Here are all of his Instagram, Johnny Depp, TikTok. Yes, he has a TikTok, Facebook, and the Discord. So anything else is not him. Look for the blue check mark. You guys take care. And if you have any Johnny Depp news that I have not discovered, I try to keep up. I usually check all of his socials and see if he's posted anything new. So we'll talk to you again soon. Bye.